Hello, I'm Evan Nolan, the president and co-founder of the United States Athletics Hall of Fame, here with another nominee for inaugural class. When it comes to the true trailblazers of American sports history, the OG has to be Jack Johnson, the turn-of-the-century heavyweight fighter. Johnson was born in Galveston, Texas in March of 1878, the third of 9 children to former slaves Henry and Tina Johnson. And he was not a natural fighter. He routinely got beaten up at school when he was younger, depending his older sister Lucy to help defend him. After one such loss, he came home and his mom said, "You lose another fight at school, get a bigger whooping when you come home than you would have there." He listened and started learning to fight. He actually dropped out of school after only 5 years and found work trying to help support the family, serving as an apprentice wagon painter, believe it or not, under a man named Walter Lewis. He credits Lewis as the man who truly taught him how to box. He'd go professional November 1st of 1898, and his first few years were very, very mixed. In 1901, though, he'd fight local Galveston heavyweight Joe Choinsky, a Caucasian man, and Choinsky would defeat him. Fortunately, they were both arrested after the bout because it was illegal to fight in Texas for money at that point. And they had bail posted at $5,000 apiece, which neither man could afford. But the sheriff made a deal with them that if they sparred in the ring during the day, they could go home at night. He and Choinsky fought in that that cell for 23 days before their bail was reduced to go home. And Johnson credits that time with being some of the most important in his development as a fighter. By 1903, he'd win the World Colored Heavyweight title, defeating Denver Ed Martin by decision. And he'd defend that title 17 times over the next 8 years, finally vacating it in 1908, when he knocked out reigning world champion Tommy Burns in Sydney, Australia. Johnson had taunted Burns in the press for 2 years about being afraid to face him, and Johnson would therefore become the first black man to hold the heavyweight belt and cause a whole bunch of strife back in the U.S., with many in the press calling for the next great white hope to take the belt back from him. There were several who tried and failed, but then eventually came to the fight of the century, the first one, on July 4th, 1910, between Johnson and former champion James J. Jeffries, who had retired 6 years previously rather than face Johnson. Johnson would dominate this fight and would win in the 14th round when Jeffries would refuse to come out for the bell. And race riots would erupt across the United States at this news. It buried the dream of the Great White Hope and cemented Johnson as one of the greatest and most important fighters in American history. You can vote for Jack Johnson or any of our other nominees to the United States Athletics Hall of Fame at www.nothalloffame.com/USA. Voting will continue between now and we make our announcement November 1st, so vote as often as you like, as long as it's only once a day. I'll be back soon with another nominee, but until then, take care.